In the previous lessons, we've created products and categories tables using database migration. In this lesson, we're going to insert some dummy or fake data to our database tables programmatically using seeder. Seeding our database tables with fake data is useful to see our code in action before any real user data comes in. Basically, we can manually insert some records in a certain table using SQL Client tool. Here in SQL Pro, I can duplicate this row and then make some necessary changes and do the same way to get more data. So this way could be ideal if you want to create just a couple of rows. But if you need to have a lot of rows, then doing this way is not a good idea. In this case, seeder is coming into play. The steps are simple. We create a seeder, then specify the table along with the columns with their values, and specify how many records to insert to the table. So all seeders that we created are placed in database seeds folder. And here, Laravel also shipped the main seeder called database seeder. In here, we can register other seeder classes that are going to be executed. Alright, let's switch over to our terminal. And here we can make a new seeder by saying php artisan make :seeder. Then the seeder name is gonna be category seeder. Note that ending your seeder name with seeder or double seeder is not mandatory, but it's pretty common to end the seeder name with that suffix. Alright, seeder created successfully. Now let's open our newly created seeder. And in here, we're gonna use Laravel Query Builder to insert some data to our database. In this case, we're gonna be using DB facade. Firstly, at the top here, we're gonna import the DB namespace. Then here, let's define a variable that is going to hold all categories. I'll call it categories and set it with empty array. Next, I'll create 5 categories. And I'm going to use PHP for each loop. I'll call PHP range function 1 to 5 to generate array contains value from 1 to 5. And then as index. And for each body, we can specify the column with its value, and we'll put it into categories array. The array key is a column, while the value is the column's value. So here, let's define name, and its value is gonna be category index. Let's also specify created at, and we'll set its value with now. This is Laravel helper function to get the current date time. Let's duplicate this line and change to updated date. Alright, after we store all categories in categories array, we can then process them into our database by saying db : table, then specify the table name, categories, and then insert and pass the data, categories. Okay, we created category seeder and write some code to insert some data. Now, let's save this change, switch to our terminal, and run our seeder by saying php artisan db : seed, then specify the class option, then followed by the seeder class category seeder. Hit return, Oops, I get error. The use statement with non-compound name db has no effect. Maybe I need to remove this namespace. Save and rerun the seed. Okay, database seeding completed successfully. Let's verify our database. Okay. Here we have 5 records added in the table. Now, let's also create another seeder for our products table. Back to our terminal. Then type php artisan make seeder product seeder. Let's open that file. Define a variable to hold all products. Here, I'll create 20 products. So for each, range 1 to 20 as index. In for each, we define the products value and push it to products array. After that, we insert the products into our database. db table products insert products. Now, to make our life much easier, let's register our seeders in database seeder. As I mentioned before that this is the main seeder where we can register other seeders that are going to be executed in one go. So here, let's uncomment this line, replace this with array. In this array, we can specify the seeder class. Here, we need to place the category seeder before product seeder because these seeders will be executed sequentially. Let's give this a save, switch to terminal, and run our seeders. Since we have registered them in the database seeder, here we can just say php artisan db seed. Oops, I get error. Here I get error. Field category ID doesn't have a default value. So let me go to product seeder, define the category ID, and for the value, I'll set it with random number between 3 to 5. Save, back to terminal, and rerun the seed. Okay, database seeding completed successfully. If we take a look, the categories table, here I have 16 rows, while in products, I have 22 rows. So if you want to avoid duplicate record like this, all you have to do is to drop the database tables, recreate them, and run the seed again. So the first option, we run php artisan migrate :fresh, and then rerun the seed php artisan db :seed. Now if we check our database tables, now we no longer have duplicate records. The second option, you can do those steps in one line like this: php artisan migrate fresh --seed. So as you can see, dropping all tables, run the migration, and seeding the database.